Imagine this, it's 2 a.m. in a quiet suburban neighborhood, the kind where shadows dance under streetlights and every creak sounds like danger. But what if that danger bursts through your door unannounced? What if you're a black woman alone, jolted awake by armed cops kicking in your front door, guns drawn, shouting commands? And then, in a heartbeat, everything flips. They spot your FBI jacket hanging on the wall, and silence falls like a guillotine. This isn't just a story, it's a pulse-pounding thriller ripped from the edges of reality, blending racial tension, high-stakes intrigue, and jaw-dropping twists that will keep you guessing until the very end. If you're in the USA or UK, craving stories that expose injustice while delivering edge of your seat suspense, hit that subscribe button now. Don't miss out on more gripping narratives like this that challenge the status quo and demand your attention. Subscribe today and join the thousands uncovering hidden truths one story at a time! In the dead of night, under a moonless sky in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, Detective Marcus Hale led his SWAT team through the dimly lit streets of a modest apartment complex, their boots thudding softly against the pavement like a prelude to chaos. The tip had come in anonymously. A suspected drug kingpin operating out of Unit 7B, a black woman named Ellara Thompson, allegedly stashing kilos of cocaine and weapons in her home. Hale, a grizzled veteran with a chip on his shoulder from too many botched raids, gripped his battering ram tighter, his mind racing with the adrenaline of the hunt. "Breach on my mark," he whispered into his radio, his team fanning out like shadows. At exactly 2:03 a.m., the door exploded inward with a deafening crack, splintering wood flying everywhere as the officers stormed in, flashlights piercing the darkness, shouting, "Police! Get down! Hands where we can see them!" Ellara, a 35-year-old woman who had just drifted into a fitful sleep after a grueling day, bolted upright in her bed, her heart slamming against her ribs like a trapped animal. She was alone in the small two-bedroom apartment she called home, the air thick with the scent of lavender from her diffuser, a stark contrast to the violence erupting around her. Disoriented and terrified, she reached for her nightstand lamp, but before her fingers could flick the switch, rough hands yanked her from the bed, slamming her face down onto the carpet, knees pressing into her back as cold metal cuffs clicked around her wrists. "Don't move. Where's the stash?" Hale barked, his voice echoing off the walls adorned with family photos and abstract art. Elara's mind reeled. Stash? What stash? She was no criminal. She was a federal agent, deep undercover for the FBI, investigating a corrupt police ring that had infiltrated the very department now raiding her home. But in that moment, with her cheek pressed against the floor, she couldn't reveal her identity without blowing her cover. A cover that had taken years to build, infiltrating circles of power that reached from street-level dealers to city hall insiders. As the team tore through her living room, flipping cushions and emptying drawers, one young officer, Ramirez, paused mid-ransack, his beam landing on a hook by the coat rack. There, hanging innocuously, was a black leather jacket emblazoned with the bold yellow letters FBI. The room fell silent, the only sound the distant hum of a neighbor's air conditioner. Hale's eyes widened, his face draining of color as he stepped closer, shining his light on the jacket's embroidered badge, authentic down to the serial number he knew all too well from joint operations. "What the hell?" he muttered, signaling his team to halt. Ellara, still pinned, allowed a small, knowing smile to creep across her face, though hidden from view. This was the twist she hadn't anticipated. The raid was meant to silence her, orchestrated by the very corrupt cops she was closing in on, but now exposed in this bungled operation, it might just unravel everything. Ramirez radioed it in, his voice shaky. "Sarge, we've got a problem. This is an FBI safe house or something." Hale cursed under his breath, realizing the anonymous tip was a setup, likely from Captain Ellis, the man Ellara had been tailing for months, suspected of taking bribes from the cartel. As they uncuffed her, apologies tumbling out like spilled beans, Ellara stood tall, her dark eyes piercing through the dim light. "You boys just walked into a federal investigation," she said coolly, slipping into her role with practiced ease. But the night was far from over. As the team retreated, Hale lingered, his gut telling him something was off. Why hadn't she fought back? Why the calm demeanor? Little did he know, Elara's jacket wasn't just a prop, it was a decoy, part of a deeper game. You see, Ellara wasn't FBI, she was something far more dangerous, a rogue operative from a shadowy private intelligence firm hired by a whistleblower within the department to expose not just corruption, but a conspiracy tying local cops to a national human trafficking ring. The real FBI jacket belonged to her late sister, killed in the line of duty, a memento she kept as a reminder. The twist deepened when Hale, Piecing it together later that night in his squad car, ran her name through back channels and discovered discrepancies. Elara Thompson didn't exist before 5 years ago. Paranoia set in. Was she a plant? A double agent? Meanwhile, Elara, back in her trashed apartment, activated a hidden camera feed, watching the raid footage she'd captured on concealed devices. She smiled wider now, knowing this blunder would force Ellis's hand, drawing him out into the open. But as dawn broke, another layer peeled back. Ramirez, the young officer who spotted the jacket, wasn't who he seemed. He was Ellis's nephew, planted in the team to ensure the raid went south if needed, but his genuine shock had been a performance. In a secret meeting later that morning, Ramirez reported back to Ellis, who paced his office like a caged lion. She knows too much, Ellis growled, but that jacket, it's a bluff. She's not FBI, she's a journalist undercover, digging into my affairs. Wrong again. Elara was indeed a journalist at heart, but one who had crossed into vigilantism after her sister's unsolved murder, which she believed Ellis had covered up. Armed with tech from black market sources, she had fabricated her identity, embedding herself in Atlanta's underbelly to gather evidence. The raid had been a calculated risk. She had leaked the tip herself, knowing it would expose the department's overreach and racial profiling tendencies, turning public opinion against them. As news crews swarmed the complex by noon, Elara stepped out, jacket on, playing the victim for the cameras. They kicked in my door because I'm black and live alone. But look what they found. Social media exploded, hashtags trending across the USA and UK, where similar stories of police misconduct resonated deeply. Protests brewed, demands for accountability echoed from London to Los Angeles. But the biggest twist came that evening when Hale, guilt-ridden and suspicious, confronted Elara at a coffee shop stakeout. "Who are you really?" he demanded. She leaned in, whispering, "The one who's going to bring down Ellis. And you if you're involved." Hale froze. He wasn't dirty, but his partner had been skimming, and now he was torn between loyalty and justice. In a heart-pounding alliance, they teamed up, uncovering encrypted files on Ellis's computer that revealed not just bribes, but ties to international smugglers using Atlanta as a hub. Chases ensued through rain-slicked alleys, shootouts in abandoned warehouses, each revelation twisting the knife deeper. Elara's true motive surfaced. Her sister hadn't died in duty, she was assassinated by Ellis for getting too close. Vengeance fueled her, but justice tempered it. In the climax, as they cornered Ellis on a foggy bridge overlooking the Chattahoochee River, Ramirez revealed his double cross, aiming a gun at Hale. "Uncle's orders," he sneered. But Elara, anticipating betrayal, had rigged the scene with FBI allies. Real ones this time, tipped off anonymously. Sirens wailed, lights flashed, and in the chaos, Ellis lunged for Elara, only to slip over the edge, his screams echoing into the night. Ramirez surrendered, Hale was cleared, and Elara vanished into the shadows, her mission complete. Yet, in a final twist, as Hale sifted through evidence, he found a note from Elara. The jacket was hers. "Keep fighting." Months later, reforms swept the department, inspired by her story, a testament to one woman's unyielding pursuit of truth amid systemic flaws. And so, in the quiet aftermath, Atlanta breathed easier. But Elara, she was already on to the next city, jacket in tow, ready for whatever door fate kicked in next.